if you, do you regard illegal immigration, or do you, first of all, do you regard immigration laws as unjust, or do you regard illegal immigration as a victimless crime? And I think if either of those, the answer is yes, then you approach the question of illegal immigration very, very differently than we do. We believe, as did the Barbara Jordan's Commission and the President Clinton's Council of Sustainable Development, that there are major victims to violating immigration laws, and that immigration laws are basically are set to provide order in the labor force, but also order in all society. And I think just about all religious traditions recognize both the right and the responsibility of communities, national communities, to have boundaries and determine who crosses those boundaries and how they cross them. And the biblical foundation for that is, I think, primarily held in what we see throughout both the Old Testament, or the Jewish scriptures, and then the Christian scriptures, which is that the role of government is to provide order. Now, that's not the same thing as kind of the harsh sounding law and order, but it's the idea that you cannot have justice, which is the primary call of the Bible, is to have a society of justice. But you can't have justice without order. And immigration laws are to provide some order, and particularly in the labor force. I would say that one of the things that's happened from the last 30 years of very, very high immigration, 4 times higher than our traditional levels, 4 times higher than what we had in the 50s and 60s. Legal, 4 times higher legal immigration, that's not counting the illegal, is that it has undermined many of our highest goals, such as the passage of the Disabilities Act. I think that was 1990. There's been almost no improvement in the employment of disabled Americans. Now think of this. If the businesses of this country are allowed to import any strong, healthy, young, eager, extremely motivated worker from anywhere else in the world, why would they ever hire a disabled American? And they don't. The fact is, we have provided that kind of labor to business, and so they've avoided hiring those most vulnerable members of our community. It also allows businesses to avoid hiring from groups that they just don't like or are fearful of. And there's just about any kind of way you can look at it. The most disliked group in America are black men. Right now, we have a 5-year high unemployment, official unemployment rate of 6.1%, I believe it is. These are people who are looking for jobs who can't find one. By the way, the Hispanic women, their official unemployment is 50% higher than that. It's about 9%. And black men, the official unemployment is 12%, double the rate. But there's also, that doesn't even count all the people who stopped working. The fact is, just about 40% of all black men in this country do not have a job. And this is a population, along with lots of types of white workers, which are numerically even more unemployed, that businesses don't like, don't want to recruit, don't know what to do with. We had a tight labor market, like we had during World War I, as an example. The businesses would be recruiting. They'd figure out how to entice, recruit, train, hire, and retain these underserved populations. But they don't have to, because immigration, both legal and illegal, has given them other ways to deal with it. So there really are victims, and it's a systemic issue. The victims are not popping up on the church steps the way that an undocumented family may pop up, but they're there. And it's a question about what kind of a just society you're going to have. On the environmental side, just quickly, the way that the Council of Sustainable Development looked at it is you take something like the Chesapeake watershed. The Chesapeake Bay is unhealthy. It's just about as sick, or maybe sicker than it was 30 years ago. We've had tremendous efforts, government efforts, expenditures, not nearly enough. But the fact is that what has been done has been negated by the fact that the population has grown by so much in the watershed during these 30 years. And that population has been driven almost entirely by federal immigration laws. I would say that just to finish up, and then I look forward to the conversation with the Q&A. The solutions, because it's not just talking about the problems. The Jordan Commission came up with two primary solutions to the economic injustice of immigration, both of which would dramatically reduce the flow of immigration. Number one, mandatory workplace verification, which we're supporting the SAVE Act right now, sponsored by Congressman Heath Shuler, a Democrat from North Carolina, which basically takes away the ability of most businesses, except the truly underground ones, to hire illegal workers. It pushes the employers much more into the legal labor market, much more likely to obey all the other labor laws. Secondly, the second main solution is to end chain migration. Chain migration was instituted in the late 1950s. Until 1959, an immigrant got to come in this country on the basis of who he or she was, or spouse and minor children. In 1959, Congress changed it so that immigrants could decide the next immigrants and bring in adult children, parents, adult brothers and sisters. Nothing particularly wrong with that, except that it never ends, because then your brothers and sisters bring in their spouses, who bring in their parents and their brothers and sisters. That's the primary reason why immigration, legal immigration, has quadrupled over the last 30 years. Those two things would probably cut immigration in half, the total immigration in half. Most people, including the president of the Border Patrol Union, will tell you that the way to control the borders is, right now, is not more stuff on the border, it's taking away the jobs magnet. And we believe, we are not opposed to the raids that are going on, because we believe they're effective, but we don't think that's the best way. We think the best way is to have a nice civil way of having verification at the workplace, let it be done through paperwork. Illegal immigrants that are here would go back home, as many of them are already doing. You don't have to have SWAT teams to make that happen. And of course, the chain migration, you're cutting out a level of immigration that has no particular national interest and really doesn't have any particular humanitarian interest. Look forward to your questions. Thank you.